Anger isn't just a reaction, it's a choice. And I'm here to tell you that every time you let someone get under your skin, you give them control over your life. If you want to succeed, you need to be untouchable. You need to become a force that no one can shake. Let's dive into how you can master your emotions and never let anyone or anything get to you again. The truth is, we've all been there, feeling provoked, upset, or even enraged by someone's words or actions. But here's a reality check. The moment you let someone else's behavior dictate your emotional state, you lose power. You give up control over yourself. Anger doesn't just happen, it's a choice. When you let someone's words or actions rattle you, you are actively deciding to react in that way. And when you stop blaming others for your emotional state, that's when true strength begins. You see, blaming the world or other people for how we feel is one of the most common traps we fall into. It's the easy way out. It's much easier to point fingers at the person who made you angry or the situation that caused you frustration. But that's where the weakness lies, because it's external. It's saying, I don't have control over my own emotions. It's saying, I am a victim of the circumstances around me. And once you take that mindset, you give others power over your peace, your happiness, and your mental state. That's a dangerous place to be in. The power to master your emotions lies within you. The moment you accept that how you feel is up to you, that's when you take the first step toward mastering your reactions. The world can throw everything it has at you, but you remain steady. Someone cuts you off in traffic, and instead of swearing and allowing anger to take over, you stay focused. Someone insults you or talks behind your back, and instead of retaliating or feeling hurt, you stand your ground and choose peace. You choose not to let their actions affect your state of mind because you've accepted responsibility for your emotions. Responsibility is key. To truly own your reactions means understanding that no one can make you feel a certain way unless you allow it. Sure, someone might say something offensive or do something hurtful, but that doesn't mean you have to react in anger. The choice of how you respond is entirely within your control. If you're angry, it's because you've allowed that emotion to rise. If you're upset, it's because you've chosen to carry that negativity with you. So why not choose differently? When you take responsibility for your emotions, you break free from the chains of victimhood. You stop living in reaction and start living in purpose. You stop allowing people or situations to dictate how you feel. Instead, you decide. You decide to stay calm. You decide to stay focused. You decide to stay at peace. And that's where the power lies. When you take back that control. It's not always easy, of course. Emotions can feel overwhelming. But the more you practice this mindset, the more you strengthen your ability to remain unshaken. The more you become aware of your emotional triggers, the better you become at managing them. The goal is not to suppress your emotions. It's to recognize that you have the ability to control them and not let them control you. So when anger starts to rise, you can stand firm in your power and say, I am in control. I choose peace. This isn't just a philosophy, it's a skill that can transform your life. No one has the right to rob you of your peace. Your emotions are yours to govern. Don't let anyone take that from you. When you accept full responsibility for how you feel, you take the first step toward being untouchable, emotionally impenetrable, and ultimately unstoppable. Mental toughness is the difference between those who thrive and those who crumble under pressure. It's the ability to withstand adversity, bounce back from setbacks, and keep moving forward with unrelenting determination. It's not something that comes naturally to everyone, but it is something that can be developed. Mental toughness is a skill, and like any skill, it requires practice, persistence, and the willingness to face discomfort head on. In life, challenges are inevitable. Whether it's dealing with a difficult person, facing a setback in your career, or experiencing personal hardship, adversity is part of the human experience. What separates the successful from the unsuccessful is how they respond when faced with adversity. Most people react emotionally. They get angry, upset, or frustrated and let their feelings dictate their actions. But the mentally tough person knows that emotional reactions are nothing more than distractions. They understand that emotions are temporary, but their goals are permanent. So they stay focused, calm, and composed, no matter how chaotic the situation may seem. Building mental toughness starts with self-awareness. You must first understand that you are the one in control of your reactions. Life may throw you curveballs, but you have the power to decide how you respond. That power lies within you, not in the hands of the people or circumstances around you. When you take responsibility for your responses, you stop being a victim of external events and become the master of your fate. Every time you choose to stay calm instead of reacting impulsively, you build mental strength. Every time you rise above negativity and remain focused on your goals, you become more resilient. The path to mental toughness requires you to step outside of your comfort zone. Comfort zones are the breeding grounds of mediocrity. They keep you complacent, unwilling to push past the boundaries of what feels safe. But if you want to become mentally tough, you must embrace discomfort. Embrace the challenges that come your way, knowing that every hardship is an opportunity to grow stronger. You don't develop resilience by avoiding challenges. You build it by confronting them head on, learning from them, and moving forward with greater wisdom. In moments of adversity, the mentally tough person remains unfazed because they have a clear sense of purpose. They understand that their vision and their goals are far greater than the temporary discomfort they might be experiencing. They've made a commitment to themselves and their mission, and no setback or challenge will derail them. They understand that pain is temporary, but quitting is permanent. They don't give up because they know that the path to success is filled with obstacles. But those obstacles are not there to stop them. They are there to test their resolve. One of the key elements of mental toughness is emotional regulation. It's not about suppressing your feelings or pretending you're invincible. It's about understanding that emotions are a natural part of the human experience, but they don't have to control you. You can feel frustration or anger without allowing those emotions to dictate your behavior. The mentally tough person is able to process their emotions, acknowledge them, and then move forward without being swayed by them. They won't allow negative emotions to cloud their judgment or derail their focus. True mental toughness is not about being immune to adversity. It's about developing the strength to stay calm, focused, and determined in the face of challenges. It's about building resilience and understanding that setbacks are a natural part of the journey. It's about embracing discomfort and using it as fuel to push yourself harder, to strive for greater success, and to become a better version of yourself. If you want to develop mental toughness, you must be willing to endure the hardships, remain unshaken in the storm, and never lose sight of your ultimate goal. That's the mindset of a winner. Anger is one of the most powerful distractions you can face, and it's a tool that's been designed to keep you off your path, to pull you away from what truly matters. When you let anger take over, you're giving it power over you. Power that should be directed toward your goals, your purpose, and your vision. Think about it. Every time you waste your energy getting upset, every time you let frustration cloud your judgment, you're taking time away from the things that actually move the needle forward in your life. You're losing sight of your bigger vision. There's a reason why the most successful people in the world rarely allow themselves to get bogged down by anger. They understand that emotions, especially anger, are fleeting. It's a temporary response to a situation that, in the grand scheme of things, is insignificant. Successful individuals are not emotionally hijacked by circumstances. They've trained themselves to redirect their emotional energy into something more productive. They've learned how to ignore the small petty annoyances of life that drag others down. These individuals stay laser focused on their purpose, their mission, their vision. Why? Because they know the cost of losing focus. Every moment spent being angry is a moment you'll never get back. It's time you can't reclaim. And while you're busy being upset, someone else who's staying focused is moving ahead. Every second you're caught up in a negative emotional state, you're allowing someone or something to pull you out of your lane and prevent you from progressing. A person who's truly focused on their vision has developed the ability to block out distractions, whether those distractions come in the form of negative people, frustrating circumstances, or even the trivial matters that would make others lose their cool. They understand that getting mad is a waste of energy. They know that everything that happens around them is temporary, but their vision, that's long-term. It's bigger than any frustration. It's more important than any insult. It's the compass that guides them through the noise. This ability to stay focused on the bigger picture is what separates winners from everyone else. When you're angry, you're narrowing your focus. You're concentrating all of your mental energy on something that doesn't matter. And in that moment, you're missing the bigger opportunities right in front of you. Opportunities that could take you closer to your goals, closer to your success. You're allowing the petty things to rob you of your future. But when you're on a mission, when you know what you want out of life, there is no time to waste on small-minded people or trivial issues. Your focus should be so sharp that the noise of the world fades into the background. The people who get to the top in life are the ones who don't allow the ups and downs of daily life to determine their emotions. They're the ones who understand that their vision, their mission, is the driving force. Every time you let anger take hold of you, you're allowing the world to control you instead of you controlling the world. You're giving away your power. And once you understand this, you'll realize that it's never worth it to let anyone or anything pull you away from your bigger vision. Don't let the little things steal your focus. Keep your eyes on the prize. Stay committed to what truly matters, and the distractions will lose their power over you. Your ego is an insidious force. It hides behind your pride, masquerades as your identity, and convinces you that your worth is tied to how others perceive you. It thrives on validation, constantly seeking approval from the outside world. When someone insults you or challenges you, your ego reacts with indignation. It says, "How dare they treat me like that?" It makes you feel like you need to defend yourself, to protect your image, to assert your superiority. But here's the truth. That's not your true self talking. That's your ego trying to keep you trapped in a cycle of self-importance and defensiveness. If you want to break free from anger, you must first understand the nature of your ego. It feeds on the belief that you are somehow better than others, that you deserve respect, admiration, and special treatment. It thrives on the idea that your value is determined by external factors, the way people look at you, the way they speak to you, and how they treat you. But real power comes when you realize that none of these things define you. Your worth is not dependent on how others see you, but on how you see yourself. When you detach from the ego, you are no longer a prisoner of how others treat you. You no longer seek to prove your worth because you already know who you are and what you're capable of. The key to mastering your ego is self-awareness. Recognize when it's speaking to you. It will sound like a voice of anger, frustration, or hurt pride. It might even disguise itself as righteous indignation, convincing you that your anger is justified because someone wronged you. But in reality, your ego is simply trying to keep you attached to a false sense of identity. You are not your anger. You are not your frustration. You are not your ego. Once you recognize this, you can begin to silence it. Mastering your ego doesn't mean you become a doormat. It doesn't mean you allow people to walk all over you or treat you with disrespect. It means you stop reacting emotionally to every slight, every comment, and every challenge. It means you no longer allow someone's words or actions to dictate your mood, your energy, or your direction. Instead of engaging with anger, you respond with wisdom, patience, and control. You understand that their actions are a reflection of them, not of you, and you choose to rise above it. When you detach from your ego, you unlock your true potential. You no longer waste energy defending yourself, justifying your actions, or proving your worth. Instead, you focus on your growth, your goals, and your purpose. You become immune to the trivialities that once triggered your anger. You become a force that is unshakable because you are no longer influenced by external forces. The opinions of others no longer have power over you. You are free to live your life on your terms, guided by your inner strength, not by the fleeting whims of the outside world. The moment you begin to detach from your ego, you start to experience true peace. You stop living for validation and you start living for fulfillment. Anger no longer controls you because you no longer allow yourself to be dragged into petty conflicts or negative emotions. You recognize that every situation, no matter how challenging, is an opportunity for growth. Your ego may try to make you angry, but you've learned to ignore it. You've learned to master it, and in doing so, you've learned to master yourself. The power you gain from this is immeasurable. It's the power of self-control, of emotional freedom, and of ultimate success. Emotional detachment is one of the most powerful tools you can wield in life. It's not about becoming cold or emotionally distant, nor is it about shutting down your feelings. Emotional detachment means that you have the ability to experience emotions without allowing those emotions to hijack your behavior, your decisions, or your peace of mind. It's the art of feeling without letting those feelings control you. It's about being in charge of your emotions instead of letting them dictate your life. In a world where we're constantly bombarded with opinions, judgments, and expectations, the ability to detach emotionally is not just a skill, it's a necessity. We live in a society that thrives on instant feedback, constant connection, and relentless validation. Whether it's through social media, workplace pressures, or personal relationships, people are quick to offer their input, and too often, their criticism. Without emotional detachment, you'll find yourself in a constant battle with your emotions, reacting impulsively to every trigger, and giving away your power to things that truly don't matter. Training yourself to practice emotional detachment is a conscious decision that requires discipline, self-awareness, and a long-term mindset. The first step is understanding that emotions, no matter how intense, are temporary. They come and go like waves in the ocean. If you let yourself be swept up in every wave, you'll drown in frustration, anxiety, and anger. Instead, you need to learn to observe your emotions, acknowledge them, and let them pass without getting caught up in them. You feel anger, but you don't act on it. You feel hurt, but you don't let it dictate your responses. You feel fear, but you don't let it stop you from taking action. The key to emotional detachment lies in emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the ability to understand, manage, and navigate your own emotions as well as the emotions of others. When you develop emotional intelligence, you start to recognize the difference between feeling something and reacting to it. You begin to identify emotional triggers and learn how to respond strategically instead of impulsively. You no longer let others' words or actions control your state of mind. You become less reactive, more composed, and more in control of your reactions. The process of emotional detachment also means separating yourself from the need for external validation. When you are constantly seeking approval from others, you put yourself in a vulnerable position. You're handing over your power, your worth, and your peace to people who may or may not have your best interests at heart. When you detach from the need for approval, you break free from this cycle. You no longer look to others for your sense of value, which in turn frees you from the emotional roller coaster that comes with it. You are secure in your own identity and direction. The opinions of others no longer shake your confidence, and their judgments no longer sting because they hold no weight in your life. Practicing emotional detachment is a matter of strength and self-control. It's not about ignoring your feelings. It's about acknowledging them and choosing not to let them overpower you. Life is unpredictable. People will say things that upset you. Situations will arise that challenge you. But when you learn to detach emotionally, you protect your peace. You learn how to stay focused on your goals, your purpose, and your vision without letting emotional turbulence cloud your judgment. You become the master of your emotions, not their victim. And that control, that peace, that inner strength is what will propel you forward to success. No one can make you angry unless you let them. If you want to be a winner, you have to learn to stay unshakable. The world is full of distractions, but you don't need to let them control you. Stay focused, stay calm, and turn every obstacle into an opportunity. Become the person who's so calm, so centered that nothing, and I mean nothing, can ever bother you again. Your power is in your peace. Use it wisely.